Hey everyone, welcome back to Ina Time. Today we're taking a look at a brand that I only recently got turned on to because I always heard their name in passing and I just always, brushed it off. I associated it with other brands like Daniel Wellington, for example, that, you know, sound nice, but they overcharge for what is essentially cheap junk. And turns out that's not the case at all with this brand. This brand is actually making pretty high quality watches, and they come from Denmark, and they're named Henry Archer. And I'm glad I decided to take a look at one of their watches. I got the Vesterhav Raven here. Vesterhav, kind of hard to say, but very nice watch. And let's take a look at it. All right, so here it is, the Henry Archer Vesterhav, and just want to give a quick heads up. You might hear some thunder in the background. It's currently storming here, so just a heads up. But first of all, I have to say, man, this watch is quite the looker. I normally don't like the black and gold color combo, but it just absolutely works on this watch. Um, yeah, on this watch, it absolutely works. Let's talk about the case size. The case size is 40 millimeters. So I can actually measure right. There it goes. 40 millimeters. And it's incredibly thin. I forget exactly. I believe it's 10.7. Incredibly thin, yes, 10.7. And then the lug to lug, I'm not actually sure what it is, to be honest. So let's go ahead and measure that. 47.2 is pretty good. This watch wears incredibly well, and I believe it's 20 millimeter lug width. Yeah, it's going to be a 20 millimeter lug width. So we went over the size. Let's go over the rest of the specs real quick. It's got a premium 9019 automatic Miyota movement, which hand winding hacks, sapphire crystal glass. It's got the Swiss Super Luminova. It's a white 10 BL grade X1 per their website. 200 meter or 660 feet of water resistance, 20 atmospheres, however you want to say it. And an original Danish design, because again, they are from Denmark. So sapphire glass is on the front and back, and it's got 6 layers of AR coating, anti-reflective coating. The case is 316L stainless steel, 20 millimeter strap, which fits wrist sizes between 16 and 21.5 centimeters. The dial comes with BGW9 Super Luminova on the markers and hands. We already discussed it has a Miyota 9019 automatic movement, which beats at 28,800 beats per hour, up to 42 hours power reserves, and 20 atmospheres of water resistance, and a 2-year warranty. So those are the specs. Let's go over what I think of it. Honestly, it's been a real joy to have and to own. I've had it on the wrist, and it's been incredibly comfortable with those small dimensions. Gotta take my G-Shock off. Definitely more comfortable than the G-Shock, I can tell you that much. Just that's super slim, about 10.5 on the wrist. I think I measured 10.7. They say 10.45 millimeters on their website, but either way, incredibly light, incredibly comfortable, slim, such a great looker, and doesn't get more comfortable. And that was a loud one, the lightning outside. But look at the incredible detail on that dial with the hands, the markers, and just the design of the dial itself, which kind of reminds me a little bit of the Christopher Ward, the 12. Maybe not finished to quite as high of a level as the 12, but definitely reminiscent of that design. And I can see why some people might think this watch is more expensive, because it definitely makes me think of the Christopher Ward, the 12 that I reviewed. Just and how close it comes to that with the finishing. And let's go over my notes here. So, let's see, what did I put down on my phone here? Let's do this for once. So I took down a lot of notes on my phone this time around, and you could see the Erebus Ascent creeping into the frame because I know I compared it to that. Yes, the 39mm Aventurine is $4.99 now, and the Henry Archer Vesterhav Raven is $5.49. So they're around the same price actually. But I think the Henry Archer definitely looks more expensive than the Erebus, and that's kind of saying a lot because the Erebus looks very good for the money. It really does, and it's a watch that I love, and I've had the Ascent since it launched, and I still plan to wear it at my wedding. So I'm giving the Henry Archer high praise when I say that, and there's only a $50 difference. I think this easily looks better than the Erebus. Like, it looks more expensive than the Erebus, and you even get the micro adjust clasp. A different kind of micro adjust. I think a better micro adjust than you get on the Erebus Ascent. So I think it's a winner there. They both have the quick release spring bars, but the quality of the dial and the hands and the markers, as I've said, on the Henry Archer really isn't that far off of the Christopher Ward, the 12 that I reviewed. So like I said, I could easily understand why someone might think this watch is more expensive than it is. And especially with the little touches and attention to detail like the gold ring on the crown that matches the hands and the markers. You can see the little gold ring around the edge of the crown there. That's a very nice touch. It matches the rest of the markers and everything. So that's a very nice touch that I like. And on the other collars, it comes with the matching collar ring as well on the other collars of the Vesterhav. So that's something that is really cool to see. And yeah, I mentioned the on the fly micro adjust. It seems to be the exact same one that I found on the Zellos Spearfish that I recently reviewed. Except, I mean, it's a very good thing that it's exactly the same or appears to be exactly the same. Let's just zoom in on it real quick. The only problem with this was I couldn't quite get the bracelet to go back in. You know, I couldn't quite get it to adjust while wearing it like I could on the Spearfish. So I couldn't quite adjust it to the level I could while on the Spearfish, even though it is the same design. But you can see here side by side with the Erebus. I mean, you take a look at it, they're both pretty good watches, but I think this one looks more expensive. I just do. It looks obviously designed a little bit different, but I think it's higher quality, even though both of these are very, very good, well designed watches. Let me clean up the Erebus a little bit. Because the Erebus has very good hands and stuff, so I don't want the dial to be too cloudy and obscure those. So the Erebus is very, very good. And now we'll slide over and compare it to the Henry Archer. And you can just see something about the Henry Archer just stands out a little bit more than the Erebus, in my opinion. And as I said, I absolutely love the Erebus. But if we're going to ask which one looks more expensive, feels more expensive, it's the Henry Archer. And I guess that's really all I have to say in regards to that. This definitely feels on par with Zelos models that I've reviewed and Islander, RZ, similar price stuff to it. It feels on par with, if not above, um, in certain cases. Like certainly the Islanders that I've reviewed, I think this feels a step above the Islanders, even though the Islanders I've reviewed are very nice. And this includes the Islander in Northport, which you haven't seen the review of yet. Or maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I don't know which order those are going to come out in, because I did just review the Northport as well. So maybe you will have seen it, maybe you will not have seen it. But the Islander and Lume Shot Glacier 2 was a very, very nice, very well done. And I still think that this Henry Archer is a level above that. Anyway, this is nowhere close to the level of junk that I thought it was, when I was thinking, oh, Henry Archer, oh, Daniel Wellington, just another fashion brand, not even close. This is miles above that. Anyway, I did mention it has the quick release spring bars, so let's go ahead and do that, and let's give you a good look at the movement real quick. It's Miata 9019, as I discussed, custom Henry Archer rotor. Let's try to get it in a good position for you. Custom Henry Archer rotor. Not a bad looking movement. Let's see. Come on. Go around. There you go. I like to see the moving parts on there. So really not a bad looking movement at all. And then you have the custom Henry Archer rotor. Screw down case back with those little screws, which actually is a unique touch. I haven't seen that on too many watches where it's actual screws inside of those holes. It's pretty cool, and yeah, I definitely think this is on par with Zelos in terms of quality, and definitely worth your money and worth checking out. I think the Zelos Spearfish still has the better quick release spring bars, although this one's not too bad, when it comes to getting it on and off. It's easier than the Erebus, in my opinion. Or maybe about the same, honestly. Either way, a Spearfish had both of them beat when it came to the quick release spring bars and getting them on and off. The Zealous Spearfish was much easier than both of these are. It can be a tight fit on both of these watches, which is good and bad. But okay, I'll fix that later. Let's move on. Let's get a quick Lume shot of this BGW9 Lume on this Henry Archer. I'm not sure how well it's going to turn out because it is daytime, but we will get a Lume shot. Here you can see the nice BGW9. Nice blue BGW9. Let me turn my monitors off, just give you a bit more darkness. So standard BGW9 Lume. It's very good. On par with Zelos and Erebus and everything else that uses BGW9. You have plenty of room on the markers to just soak up all of that lume and give you really good performance. So A plus, lasts a long time, super bright. Definitely not lacking in the lume department. So let's kind of wrap it up for Eye on the Time today, guys. Henry Archer Vesterhav, I definitely think it's a very high quality watch, something that really should get a lot of attention, and I think has, along with some of the other Henry Archer watches like the Nordso and some of the others out there. I think it's definitely a brand that's rising, and it's up and coming, and rightfully so. I'm pretty impressed with what they put out here in this Vesterhav, and I can't wait to see what they continue to come out with. I'm already looking around their website, like I have it pulled up right now in front of me, and they have some pretty nice, like the half strum. I'm looking at the meteorite special red, like that looks extremely awesome. I would love to have that in my hands to try out. They just have some really cool looking watches um, that I would like to get my hands on and see what they can continue to come up with in the future. They look like a brand that's on the rise, and I definitely highly recommend you check out. Um, like I said, comparable to Zelos in quality easily, and a little bit reminiscent of like Christopher Ward, kind of. Not quite as high a level there, but this is a $500 watch, so maybe some of the more expensive watches are on that level. I don't know. I haven't got my hands on them yet. Either way, I highly recommend you check out Henry Archer and give this brand from Denmark a shot. They really deserve it, in my opinion. Uh, that's going to be it for me, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. What's your favorite Henry Archer watch? What do you think of the brand? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, guys, keep an eye on the time.